en septembre 1945, je suis rappelé par mon chef, donc, et à ce moment-là, il m'envoie chez le ministre de l'Intérieur belge, M. Albert de Vleeskouwer, et Albert de Vleeskouwer donc me dit j'ai besoin de vous, et il me dit il faudrait aller voir mon collègue italien Mario Scelba. Et je suis parti à Rome et Mario Scelba m'a expliqué ce que je ne savais pas du tout. Nous avons constitué un réseau, c'était bien le Glaive, Gladio, et il a fait des exercices d'alerte pour moi un peu dans toute l'Italie pour montrer qu'en 6 minutes il pouvait être partout avec des forces d'intervention. Le problème italien n'est à comparer à aucun autre, parce que pour eux, le danger principal numéro 1, c'était pas l'armée soviétique, c'était le danger intérieur du communisme italien qui avait, je crois, 40% des voix aux élections précédentes. Et c'était de ça que Scelba avait peur. Et c'est pour ça que lui avait des dépôts d'armes et des équipes d'intervention.
There were people inside the American government, George Kennan most notably, who were arguing that the chance of the Communist Party winning the 1948 elections was so great that the United States should use military force to stop the elections, not hold the elections at all, just cancel the elections, send the army in and say to the communists, we're not going to risk elections because there's a chance of you winning. Well, this was laughed out of school by the President and the Secretary of State and all other responsible government officials. I mean, none of that was ever put into effect. And the United States said, okay, well, we'll run the elections and we'll compete in the elections.
General Marshall and James Forrestal and Allen Dulles all realized that in 1948 it was an absolutely critical moment, and that the United States didn't have, they had an intelligence service which was quite new and young. It could collect intelligence, it could have counterintelligence, it could do everything, but it could not carry out a covert operation. There was no charter for it. And so that was remedied quite rapidly in 1947-48.
Gladio fu costituita nel 1948 e credo era operativa già alla fine dell'anno. Era stata composta con una grossa metodicità di scelta di persone, che molte persone provenivano dalle file dei legionari della guerra di Spagna e molte venivano anche dalle file della Repubblica fascista di Salò, gente che sapeva maneggiare molto bene le armi, squadre di 9 persone di cui c'erano 2 capi per ogni squadra, perché conosceva, alcune dovevano conoscere dove c'erano i depositi di armi, i depositi di viveri e anche qualche deposito dove c'erano dei denari.
Nel 1948 parlo della mia esperienza di giovane appartenente ai gruppi giovanili della Democrazia Cristiana nella mia provincia. Io avevo 20 anni, non ero nessuno. Che noi, un gruppo di noi, si organizzò nella capitale della provincia e in altri centri viciniori, e che fummo armati di fucili mitragliatori. Io personalmente avevo uno Sten, e che ci furono fornite bombe a mano dai locali comandi dei carabinieri per l'eventualità che il Partito Comunista non accettasse il responso elettorale e che tentasse un colpo di Stato, così come era avvenuto in paesi come l'Ungheria, la Cecoslovacchia, la Polonia, la Bulgaria.
There was no need for Gladio to be activated in Italy in 1948. The CIA's first major covert operation succeeded without it. Large sums of money to political parties helped the Christian Democrats defeat Palmiro Togliatti and the Communists. Earlier there had been an attempt on Togliatti's life. It's never been discovered who was behind this, but the Italian press declared that it was the work of a madman.
On a dit que c'est le CIA qui a créé Gladio. C'est impossible puisque CIA a été créé en septembre 49 ou septembre 49. Or Gladio existait en Italie, en France, en Suisse, en Belgique, en tout cas, et probablement, oui, en Espagne, avant septembre 49, donc avant la création de la CIA. Mais, comme ils le font souvent, les Américains sont montés dans le train en marche.
After the war, a rather powerful Communist Party arose, having, I think, 21 members of parliament, which was unique in Belgium. It never happened before. And given the international context of communism, right-wing people were, of course, afraid of what they called communist danger in Belgium. Julien Lahaut was honorary president of the Belgian Communist Party, which doesn't mean he was the most powerful man in the party, but he was a symbol for workers' action. He was arrested by the Germans and liberated in 1945, and at that moment was appointed honorary president. He was also the man who, at the beginning of August 1950, when Prince Baudouin, who is now king of the Belgians, took his oath, Lahaut was the man who cried in the parliament, "Vive la République." King Leopold had been deported to Germany, then to Switzerland after the war, and center-right and right-wing were agitating to bring him back on the throne. The left wing was opposed to the return of the king, so the right-wingers were for the return of the king. And some of these groups established in 1948 its first contacts within the American embassy with an officer called Parker, who insisted on not only the Leopoldist agitation, he insisted on the formation of stay-behind groups to assure anti-communist resistance. Julien Lahaut was murdered in 1950. The man who killed Lahaut came out of right-wing resistance group, which was called the Secret Army, l'Armée Secrète. And very soon after the war, he was engaged in anti-communist intelligence and action work. And the action work was done, among other people, with Mr. André Moyen.
Ça s'est passé donc ça en août 49. Et 3 mois plus tard, un gars que j'avais connu pendant la guerre, mais qui n'était pas de mon service, est venu me trouver et il m'a dit, il faut que je vous demande conseil. Je vous considère comme un ancien, comme c'est bon. Et il m'a raconté, c'est moi qui ai tué Lahaut. Je dis, t'es fou? Lahaut n'est plus rien dans le parti, c'est une potiche. L'auteur m'a raconté, c'est moi qui ai tué Lahaut. Et il m'a donné des détails que seulement lui pouvait connaître. Avec qui il avait été, quelle arme il avait employé, quelle voiture, tout.
The role of Gladio within the Italian Red Brigades next week at 8:10 were terrorist atrocities against civilians orchestrated by the state.